The Battle of the Backyard Express. It started with a pebble. A single, gray, insolent pebble, mocking me from my own driveway. I was on my knees, a 52-year-old man with a pair of digital calipers measuring the offending stone. It clocked in at 0.82 inches, 0.07 inches over the legal limit, according to the Crestwood Meadows Homeowners Association. A Tuesday morning, meant for coffee and quiet, had me playing detective over gravel. Retirement, I thought, was supposed to be better than this. My name is Tom Harper. A few years back, I sold my logistics company, not for yacht money, but enough to never again endure a PowerPoint presentation. My wife, Ellen, urged me to find a hobby, something to keep me from rearranging the garage for the third time in a week. So, I bought 12 acres at the edge of Crestwood Meadows, a suburban enclave where every lawn was manicured to perfection. The land came with a catch. A rusty, forgotten freight spur from the old Burlington Northern Line cut through it. To most, it was a deal breaker. To me, it was the dream of private heritage railway, my own slice of American iron. But Crestwood Meadows had an HOA, and that HOA had a queen, Patricia Langley. She was the kind of woman who could weaponize a smile, her blonde bob as unyielding as her rulebook. The pebble incident was her latest salvo. A cream-colored envelope, tucked under my windshield wiper, cited me for excessive driveway sediment. A $100 fine. It was absurd, petty, and unmistakably Patricia. Our history was a litany of skirmishes. My navy blue mailbox was too bold for the neighborhood's palate. My heirloom peonies were disruptively vibrant. Each clash was a move in our suburban chess game. That morning, as I dusted off my knees, Patricia's silver Cadillac Escalade purred to a stop. Her window slid down, revealing that familiar pinched expression. "Trouble, Tom?" she asked, her voice syrupy with fake concern. I held up the calipers. "Just auditing my gravel for compliance. Patricia, this one's a felon. Should I call the sheriff?" Her lips tightened. "The fine doubles in 48 hours. I'll need to inspect the sweep myself." I leaned against my mailbox. "Got a certified sediment gauge, or are you just winging it? We wouldn't want a rogue dust mote tarnishing Crestwood's charm." She ignored me, her eyes locking onto something behind my house, a massive, tarp-covered shape on a new concrete slab. It looked like a beached whale under canvas. "What is that?" she demanded. "A project," I said vaguely. "It's enormous, Tom. It better not be a trailer. Article 9, Section F, no mobile homes." I grinned, a spark of pure joy igniting. "Oh, it's a home, Patricia. But it's not going anywhere." The next day, the cavalry arrived. A convoy of Chevy Silverados roared up my drive, trailed by a flatbed hauling a compact excavator. Leading the charge was Mike, a contractor built like a linebacker, with a gravelly voice and a wit as dry as the Nevada desert. His crew, 3 burly guys with calloused hands, followed him to the slab. We grabbed the tarp and pulled. The canvas fell away, revealing a 1957 Baldwin AS 616 locomotive, 130 tons of restored American steel, painted in the red and silver livery of the Santa Fe. I'd spent 2 years and a chunk of my nest egg bringing it back to life. Mike's crew stared, jaws slack. Mike himself let out a low whistle. "Good Lord, Tom. My boy's got a toy version of this. You've got the real deal." Ellen said I needed a hobby, I replied, patting the locomotive's coupler. "I call it the Freedom Flyer. It's my escape from suburbia." Mike laughed, a sound like tumbling rocks. "Escape's gonna cost you, pal." The work began that afternoon, spikes hammered, excavators roaring, rails laid. To me, it was a symphony. To Patricia, it was Armageddon. She swooped in by noon, clipboard in hand, a decibel meter app glowing on her phone. "This noise is unacceptable," she declared. Mike, unfazed, wiped his hands on a rag. "Ma'am, it's 10:30 a.m. County ordinance allows work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We're good." Patricia pointed at a damp spot under Mike's truck. "That's a fluid leak." Environmental Bylaws, Section 12. Mike knelt, swiped a finger through the spot, and held it up. "AC condensation, ma'am. It's 95 degrees out." Her face turned a shade of pink I'd never seen. She retreated, but the war was on. Over the next weeks, Patricia unleashed a barrage of petty attacks. She called the county about my permits. A board inspector named Carl gave me a thumbs up. She photographed Mike's portable toilet, claiming it was a permanent structure. I had my lawyer, a sharp kid named Ryan, send a letter proving it was a 7-day rental. She even taped laminated HOA bylaws to Mike's bulldozer rules about unauthorized soil displacement. Mike started collecting them, joking they'd make a fine bulletproof vest. Her obsession zeroed in on the crossing. My private access road, leading from my driveway to the rail site, was bisected by the new tracks. It was my land, but visible from Patricia's second-story window. To her, it was a personal affront. To me, it was the main event. Mike and I sipped coffee over blueprints one morning, the sun rising over the oaks. "She's gonna flip when we install the crossing signals," Mike said, grinning. "That's why I got the deluxe model," I replied. "Extra loud bells, high-intensity LEDs. Safety first." Mike shook his head. "Your trouble, Tom?" "A hobbyist," I corrected. "A safety-conscious hobbyist." The tracks were finished in 3 weeks. The crossing was a masterpiece. White gates, flashing lights, bells that rang like a cathedral at full tilt. I sent Patricia a formal letter, drafted by Ryan, notifying the HOA of a low-speed locomotive test on Saturday at 2 p.m. It emphasized the need to keep the crossing clear. Certified mail, return receipt requested. Her sharp signature came back 2 days later. She'd been warned. Saturday dawned bright and crisp. At 1 p.m., I climbed into the Freedom Flyer's cab, the air thick with diesel and steel. I ran the startup checklist: battery on, fuel pump on, throttle ready. The 16-cylinder engine rumbled to life, a deep, primal growl that vibrated through my bones. My phone buzzed. A text from Patricia: "Your letter's a joke, Tom. If that thing makes a peep, I'm calling the cops. You don't have insurance for that monster. My lawyer's ready." I typed back: "It's a hobby, not commercial. Fully insured. Stay clear of the crossing at 2 p.m. Safety first." No reply. That silence was louder than any threat. Mike, my spotter, radioed from the property line. "Her Escalade's polished and pointed your way. Got a bad feeling, Tom." "That's not bad," I said. "That's inevitability." At 1:57, I eased the throttle forward. The Freedom Flyer rolled at a stately 5 miles per hour, the wheels clacking rhythmically. The crossing came into view, and there it was. Patricia's silver Escalade, parked dead center on the tracks, tires aligned with surgical precision. She stood on her porch, 150 yards away, arms crossed, phone to her ear, smirking. She thought she'd trapped me. Either I'd stop, or I'd be the lunatic who called the cops on her. She hadn't considered option 3. I stopped the train 100 feet out and yanked the air horn. The blast was apocalyptic, rattling windows and scattering birds. Patricia didn't flinch. I called her. She picked up, her voice a rehearsed tirade. "I'm on with 911. You're harassing me with that death machine." "Patricia," I said, calm as ice, "you have 60 seconds to move your car. This is my private railroad crossing. You're trespassing." "It's a driveway," she shrieked. "Check the stakes." Mike repainted. "My land. 30 seconds. You wouldn't dare. I'll see you into the ground." 15 seconds. Final warning. "Go to hell." She hung up. I looked at her gleaming SUV, then at the 130 tons of steel under my command. Mike, at the property line, gave me a nod. I'd done everything by the book: permits, notices, warnings. This wasn't anger. This was physics. I nudged the throttle. The Freedom Flyer rolled. The final 50 feet unfolded in slow motion. At 30 feet, the Escalade's proximity sensors wailed. At 20, the windows reflected my approaching beast. At 10, the steel coupler loomed over the driver's door. Contact. No Hollywood explosion, just a sharp ping as the coupler punched through the door, followed by the musical shatter of safety glass. Then the crunch, a deep, grinding wail of metal twisting, plastic snapping, a $90,000 SUV crumpling like tinfoil. The train didn't pause. It pushed the Escalade 50 feet clear, its rear slamming into the crossing signal pole. The vehicle folded, a mangled monument to hubris. I stopped the train. Silence fell, broken only by the engine's hum and the Escalade's dying alarm. Patricia's screams echoed from her porch, a raw, paint-peeling tirade. I smiled, small and satisfied. The crossing was clear. Sheriff's deputies arrived in 7 minutes. Patricia, a whirlwind of fury, demanded my arrest. I handed Deputy Walsh a binder, property deed, permits, the certified letter, Patricia's signed receipt, and footage from the locomotive's camera, capturing every second. Walsh watched the video, heard my calm warning, her shrill refusal. He sighed, a man who'd seen too many HOAs. "It's your land, Mr. Harper. She was trespassing. You gave notice. This is civil, not criminal." He paused. "But please, Don't make this a weekly thing. Only if she parks there, I said. The story spread like wildfire. I went from that train guy to a neighborhood legend. At the emergency HOA meeting, Patricia tried to spin herself as the victim, tears streaming as she decried my industrial terror. Then I played the video. The room saw her escalade, heard her defiance. A woman in the front row moved for a no-confidence vote. It passed 47-1, Patricia's lone hand trembling in defeat. She fled, humiliated. A for sale sign sprouted in her yard a week later. A quiet couple, avid gardeners, bought her house. They loved the train. The new HOA president, an accountant named Greg, voided the sediment bylaw, calling it ludicrous. Mike and his crew, unprompted, built me a charming station platform, complete with a Crestwood Station signet gift of solidarity. On a crisp fall afternoon, I hosted a barbecue at the platform. Mike grilled, Greg swapped stories, and neighbors brought their kids for 5-mile-per-hour rides in the Freedom Flyers cab. Laughter mingled with the scent of diesel and hot dogs. I leaned against the station railing, beer in hand, gazing at my pristine driveway. Not a pebble in sight. Sometimes, the only way to move an immovable object is with an unstoppable force. I'd found mine. What do you think? Was Tom justified in pushing Patricia's SUV, or did he go too far? How would you handle an injustice like this through confrontation or compromise? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate the line between standing your ground and crossing into vengeance. Your voice matters.